So first, we would be totally naive if we don't think ChatGPT is already being used in our system. In that respect, we are looking at ChatGPT as the new Google. Now, we do not have all of the answers as to how to manage it, but we do have a district team that is working very closely on how do we utilize this to be a tool to enrich the educational process for children.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday shine online. Now, let's get back to the interview.
Hi, Josh. Good morning. My name is Luis Valentino, and I am the superintendent of the Coachella Valley Unified School District, and we're located in the Coachella Valley, 2 hours east of Los Angeles. We have approximately 17,000 students in an area covering 1,200 square miles.
Hello, my name is Dr. Lamar Goree. I serve as superintendent of Caddo Parish Public Schools. The primary hub of Caddo Parish Public Schools is Shreveport, Louisiana. We're a system of about 35,000 students, serving them in 55 schools.
Hi, I'm William Wright, superintendent of Sumter School District in South Carolina. We are in the southeastern part of the United States. Sumter School District is pretty much in the center of the state of South Carolina, and we have 27 schools that serve close to 15,000 students.
How is your school district approaching ChatGPT?
ChatGPT is a tool like the internet was when it first came on, and you had to dial up. It's same as the iPad, the iPhone, and the computer. It requires education on the front end. It requires clear expectations on how it's supposed to be used. And then there have to be measurable consequences that are observable and measurable for misuse of that particular device, tool, platform, etc. We have chosen not to shut it down because there will be a workaround. Students will figure that out. If they're not using our internet system, our local network, they will use their iPhone. So there's no way to keep it back. What we have to do is educate.
So first, we would be totally naive if we don't think ChatGPT is already being used in our system. In that respect, we are looking at ChatGPT as the new Google. Now, we do not have all of the answers as to how to manage it, but we do have a district team that is working very closely on how do we utilize this to be a tool to enrich the educational process for children. Very concerned with those things that it will eliminate, but also very encouraged with those things that we can enrich because of this. So we're looking at things like how do you change the assessment structure of a classroom? Maybe now it's more about the debate of both sides of an issue, more so than one side of an issue. But really looking at how do we use this to enrich the learning process.
So we understand that as time goes on, we're going to have more and more opportunities like that. I won't necessarily call it a challenge, it's an opportunity. And in my personal case, I learned about it from my communications director who I was getting ready to do a speech, and she said, "Let me show you this cool new tool and see what you think." And it was amazing because it was similar, very similar to a speech that I would have written. So that was the way that I got introduced to it. And we just understand clearly that tools are tools and they have to be used properly. If I'm trying to unscrew a bolt and I'm using a Phillips screwdriver as opposed to a straight screwdriver, I may get a different result. That's our job. We're going to have to make sure that we utilize the tool the proper way. I'm not anti-Chat GPT at all. But we've got to figure out how to use it. And that box is still being open, to be honest with you, to make sure that we're using it the proper way.
Are there any positive use cases that you've heard from students around ChatGPT?
Yes, staff have used it in a number of different ways. Lesson planning is one, the most common, I believe, everywhere across the country. The second one is planning for in-services and workshops, including agendas, including facilitator guides, including examples, right? When you create an activity, it generates a particular activity that may align with the agenda that you've created. And with students, for projects to ideate, for example, to organize their thinking, to generate outlines, that I believe is an appropriate use because if you're working in teams, it allows you to have conversations around and not be spending the time trying to figure out what it is that you that you want to say. That can be part of that homework. But in the classroom, it actually saves time when it allows you to focus on the bigger aspects of the work that you're doing.
One thing I've heard teachers talk about is to utilize ChatGPT as a comparative writing instrument. So, student, you write your paper. Now let's let ChatGPT write the paper. Let's compare and contrast and determine how do we turn this into the best product. So I do think that's one way that it's been used in a positive sense. I do think that students have used it, of course, in just some mindless writing things that just really, there's no reason for me to exhaust hours on this topic because of what it's about. And they've used ChatGPT to quickly generate something around that. So I do think, and again, we truly don't know the answers, but I think it's going to take teachers and administrators to work together to really figure out, just like with Google, how does this work within our system?
Well, the amazing thing about it is simply that it allows you to maybe work with children who are new to speech writing or public speaking or so forth, to give them certainly a framework upon which to work. Our challenge as adults is to make sure that it doesn't become a replacement. It should be an enhancement for sure, but not a replacement for the creativity that students need to still have to be successful in life.
With regards to ChatGPT, are you changing any of your techniques for grading students and the types of assignments being used in the classroom in your school district?
We will have to do that. We have not begun to do that. The use of ChatGPT as a tool is not as extensive as it might be in other school districts. We're in the learning phase of that. But one of the learnings is that we have to change the way that we assess the product OA process that students are engaging in, which means that teachers then have to be familiar enough with what the tool can and cannot do in order to make those adjustments. And so part of that is a professional development for our teachers.
And we're in early stages. The committee is just starting to meet in our district around that. I do think both of those things will actually happen. I do think when you look at something like an English class, the way you're assessing and the way you are measuring will definitely change some with this. But I do think the way we introduce that and the way we own that and accept that will be important. And I think, too, one thing with ChatGPT that I think is important today, and we're talking about this, too, from the equity perspective, it's only accessible today from privileged children. How do you make sure, too, that this is something that every child has access to? If this is something that we're going to say is a part of a rich educational experience.
Yeah, that's another one of those boxes I'm not sure that we've completely opened yet. I think we're certainly going to be doing that, and we've had the conversations. I don't know that we've done any knee-jerk changes at this point yet, but we're reviewing that every day because we understand how it works. Like I said, my lesson was given to me by my communications director, but since then we've done a little testing, I'll call it that, of the software here. So we understand that it's something that we're going to be on top of, but we're not trying to throw it away. We just want to make sure that we are using it properly, as I stated earlier, and we want to make sure that there's no stone unturned in terms of ensuring that there is not abuse of it, but proper use.
Thanks for listening to our smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This was our District Talk segment where we interview school district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday launch into their future by shining online. This episode was brought to you by our smartsocial.com VIP program. It's called the Very Informed Parent Program, which helps you engage your students with teen-led video lessons. Stay one step ahead with our premium parent newsletter and discover hidden features on trending apps on teens' phones and our 54 plus live parent and student-friendly events every single year. You can click on the link below to chat with one of our team members if you want a free pass to our VIP program to support your community with our smartsocial.com resources. And if you're a district leader who has a success story, we would love to feature you on a future episode. You can click the links below to reach out. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a great day.